Okay, today is the CM day, the last day, in Second Nedarim, and this is, I imagine, Tzadi Ahmed Beis, right? That's what I'm doing. Tzadi Ahmed Beis, yeah. So we're about the last Mishnah. Interesting that a lot of it doesn't have to do with Nedarim. There's going to be a Nedarim issue over here, but mostly it's not. Mostly it's going to be a Ksubas issue. Originally, they said that there are three women that, because of what they say, they get divorced and they are eligible for ksuba. Means we believe them, whatever the taina is, and that's grounds for divorce. Not that it's the husband's fault. We'll see in a minute. And but they are eligible for ksuba. And the three cases are: the first one is Omer Estimei Anilach. Second one is Shemayim Beni Olav. And the third one is Netula B'nai Yehudim. So the first one, Tmei Anilach, means that I was defiled. The Gemara is going to prove that it's talking about Eishes Kohen. Eishes Yisrael, who was defiled. If she did it willingly, so then she's surely not going to get ksuba. She says she was without a she's not going to get ksuba. And if it was bonus, so then she's last day married. The Gemara is going to prove that the Mishnah is talking about a Kohen, Eishes Kohen, and she's saying that she was Nansa. She's saying that she was defiled, not her fault, and therefore she deserves ksuba, but she cannot stay married to him. So that was the original halacha. Originally, they said that that's true, that a woman who said that I was defiled, Eishes Kohen, who said I was defiled, the onus is gets divorced. The husband has to divorce her because she believed that she was defiled, and she's eligible for ksuba because it wasn't her fault. The second case was Shemayim Beni Levencha. So there's a question what the meaning, how it fits into the words. There's a question, but she's surely saying that the husband is not able to have regular marital relations. He's not able to. He's not healthy enough to perform marital relations. The Gemara is going to talk about if it means that could be that he's able to have the actual relation, he's able to ejaculate, not in a way that she would be able to become pregnant from it. And the Gemara in Ksubas talks about that if a husband cannot impregnate his wife, it might be grounds for divorce because she wants children. So she's claiming that he's not able to ejaculate in a way that he'd be able to impregnate her. How does it fit into the words? So some say Shemayim Beni Beincha means to say like the distance between the earth and the heaven. That's how much distance there is between us, that we're not able to get together. Some say that that's what the Yerushalmi said, but according to that, it's mashma that she's saying that he doesn't have relations knowingly. And what I just said now about it not ejaculating in a way that should be able to impregnate her, then you can't say that they're not having relations. That's not the point. The point is having relations, and it's not successful. So in our Gemara, they say that probably the Gemara understands that the Mishnah reads Shamayim means like Hashem, like heaven, like Elohim. You could like you're a Shamayim. Sometimes we call Hashem, we refer to him as Shamayim, which means the creator of the heavens and the one who's Mashbiah. So as if to say Elohim, Beini Leveincha. So between me and you, what's between me and you that is different, that is not working? Or they say Elohim Eid Beini Leveincha, that Hashem could testify that relations are not in a way that I could become impregnated. So also she'd be believed. It's not that she's eligible to get a get. She could force a get because of this claim, and she gets ksuba because it's not her fault. It's his fault that he's not able to have regular relations. So in the original halacha, she was also believed. Yotzos v'notlos ksuba. So far it's not a get to Mesachas Nedarim. So far this is a ksubas issue. If she has grounds for divorce on such a claim and to get ksuba. But the third case has to do with Nedarim, the Netula B'nai Yehudim. She's making a neder that she's also to have relations with any Jew, including her husband. But she says that I can't have relations with anybody. I'm making a neder to also relations with anybody. And the Mepharshim explained that she wouldn't make such a neder unless it was very, very difficult. She had a lot of pain from having relations. She's not able to. She wouldn't answer herself on all Jews. She might have answered herself on her husband, but she's saying, I'm answering myself on all Jews. It must be that the marital act is very difficult for her, and she's considered an onus. And therefore, she's believed, and she'll get a get, and she's also even eligible for ksuba because it's not her fault. This was the original opinion. But we shown all this was original. In all these three cases, we believed her, and she was allowed to claim a get and also get ksuba. The issue of Netul Anim and Yehudim, of course, it's from should be all the way. No, as far as being a neder, of course, it affects him and he'd be able to be made for the neder. That's not the issue. But the issue is that it's not a question of the neder. The question is that it's so difficult for her. The reason that she made the neder is because it's so difficult for her and she's incapable. So that's the reason why we believe her and we force a get, and she also gets ksuba. But then the Sanhedrin, the Bezdin, they changed the psak on all these three things. They said, no, it could be that she's lying in all these three cases, and we're not going to trust her. If she be believed, then it might be that she's going to be interested in somebody else, and this is a way that she can get out of the marriage and even get ksuba also. So we're not trusting with Choshes that all these three things she's really lying. She made up the story that she was raped. She made up the story that the husband's not able to have relations and ejaculate properly. And she made up the story that it's so difficult for her to have relations. She just really wants to get out of the marriage and get a ksuba also. Yeah. So they don't believe. We don't believe her, and it seems we don't even believe her to claim the divorce, even not to get ksuba. Even if she'll say, "Don't give me ksuba," it could be also we're not going to believe her. That's what it sounds like to Hemshech over here. That it isn't that we force the get and she doesn't get ksuba. We don't force the get and we tell her to stay married. And what are we going to say now in the Mishnah Achrona? This was the Mishnah Barishona. Now Chazru Loma. Then they changed the psak. So what's going to be now? Because we're scared that what?
Oh no, you're saying you changed the psak. It's the third time, or is it still the second time? The second change.
There was one change. First they said they believed her, and then they changed and said we don't believe her.
Right. And now, okay.
No, that's all. And now it's going to explain itself. Now that it says, is that in the way? Is this disturbing? We'll put it someplace else.
Chazru mean, what is Chazru?
They
The rabbi
changed. They changed. The rabbis changed and made it
and
that we don't believe her because we're kosher that she's lying in order to get out.
no tennis means, where did it say?
No, send us in there, Bacha. She's going to put her eyes on somebody else. She'll find a different man, and she's going to be makalkal abayla. She's going to ruin the relationship with her husband in order. I think that's what the point is. She's not going to be mizana, but she wants to get a get. She wants to get a get out of her husband without, if she acts like a miserable wife, she might get a get, but she's not going to get ksuba. But we're not going to believe her, even if she doesn't get ksuba. We don't believe her, and therefore the Mishnah is going to tell us what to do under the new psak. Omeres man ilach, if she says that I was defiled, the owner, she's a Eishes Kohen, she says that I was defiled by honest and I need a get and I deserve ksuba. So we tell her nothing doing. You got to prove it. Did anybody see it? You have to bring proof. You can't just say we don't believe her word. Till now we believed her word, and now we don't believe her word anymore. And we say we don't know. Maybe nothing happened. If you want to say such a claim, you have to prove it. There's a very interesting point. That's a footnote, not to get involved in it, but she says that I'm usher to have relations. And we say, we don't believe you. So she says, she should say, I don't care if you don't believe me. I'm not allowed to have relations. You can't tell me to stay in the marriage. How can you tell me to stay in the marriage and have relations, but I know I'm not allowed to have relations? This is a footnote question.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
A footnote answer also.
No,
Yeah, you can say your answers also. Duran talks about it, and it's an obvious question that how could you tell her? Now, I might think I would answer myself I would answer that she's not going to have relations because she says I must have relations. Because she is married to a Kohen, and the person says we have relations, and she says I know the truth, I can't.
By the way, it's also for the woman also.
Yeah. That this relation is awesome. So all the Yisrael, Magdusha, Kohen, is also it's around the one woman also. So I would think, yeah.
I would say it's the Issa, the Kohen has the Issa.
I would think look into it, but I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm not arguing that.
No.
I'm saying
Yeah,
it's a chiddush to me.
I think it's special that all the sum of the man is also on the woman. And at this point, I would have said that we'll tell her to have relations, and she says I can't. They say we don't believe you, so she says I still can, and she's not going to have relations, and we'll give her a get because of a moredas. She's not doing the responsibilities of a woman, and she's going to lose ksuba. And she'll get divorced, but not ksuba. That's what I would have thought. But I think it's not like that. So we do. We'll see in the Gemara right away that we do tell her to stay married, So how can we do that?
Even the current, even the but she's current.
That's the case. That is the case.
But I'm sorry, yeah, but what is it that she's security? I said that a coin's not allowed to
We
marry.
don't have enough reason to believe her. We have a reason to think that she's lying, and we don't trust her. And the husband is allowed to have relations, and the chiddush is that she's allowed to have relations, even though she says, "I'm saying I know the truth." Let's say she does know the truth, so we don't believe her. Okay. And now what's gonna happen? So the Gemara is mashma that she's like to be told to continue having relations, even though she knows that she was mazana. But that's all this is a footnote. The footnote not to put on the text. The text says that we don't trust her, and we tell you have to prove it. We don't trust you that you were defiled, and you have to bring a proof. The second case that she says Hashemayim beini levencha, which we said means that she says that her husband is incapable of having marital relations. We don't trust her. We think she just wants to get out of the marriage, and therefore Yasu derech bakasha. So that's hard words. Yasu derech bakasha. They should do in a way to appeal to be mavakesh. So what do those words mean?
And who's my vacation? Who?
Who's mavakesh? So some say they should go out to dinner. They should. We should make a nice party for them. They should get back. We realize that she wants out. We think that maybe she just wants out. So they should do something. They should have a suda. They should go out for dinner, go to a hotel for a couple of days. Maybe everything will come back fine. And she'll say everything's fine. And even though she says that her husband was not able to, but she'll forget about the whole story. That's one shot the Meforshim say. Another shot that they say in Yasu Derech Bakasha, they ask her not to stop talking. She's talking about her husband that he's not able to have good relations. He's not able to say, you're not believed anyway. Haval al hadiburim. Like, don't waste your time talking. Please don't make noise about your husband. It's not going to work anyway. Those are two shotim in the words Yasu Derech Bakasha. The third thing of Netula and even Yehudim that she said, I asked myself to have relations with any Jew, which in the Mishnah we showed that we took it seriously, and we thought if she's so serious that she's going to ask herself on all Jews, it must be that it's very difficult for her. It's very difficult for her to have relations, and she should be allowed to be divorced and get a ksuba also. But now we're saying we don't trust her, and it could be that the whole thing is just a way to get out. So we don't trust her. But the Ma'aseh she made a neder, and of course, surely it's dvar mishabeinu lebeinu. It is considered something which affects him, so he has to be made for the neder. Till now, in the Mishnah we shown, no, we didn't just concerned about the neder, we were concerned about what's behind the neder. Behind the neder is saying that she can't take it, she can't bear the pain, whatever it is. If it's going to be physical pain, emotional, or whatever she's problem is, she can't have relations. But now we don't trust her anymore, and we don't go for it. But the Ma'aseh she made a neder, so the husband has to be made for it. Can the husband be made for it? Surely he could be made for it, because it's the should be no not affects him. Can he be made for other people? So the Gemara says, being survived from this Mishnah, that it says that he cannot be made for other people. She can have relations with him, but if eventually she gets divorced or he
I'm sorry,
dies.
I missed already.
What? In the case of the Tulam and Ayudim, Yofer Chelko,
Yofer Helko.
he should be made for what's coming to him means that she included everything. She said, I'm also from all Jews, including the husband. So he's made for whatever is relevant to him.
Okay.
So therefore, the halach is going to be that she could have relations with him because he was made for that part. But she does remain usher to all other Jews, which means if he divorces her or dies, so then she would be usher to have relations with other Jews because he's not able to make for that. Why is that? Because it's not called inin nefesh. Just where the Gemara brought a right from, that it's not called self-affliction for a woman not to have relations. It's just the issue of dvar mishabeinu lebeinu. So that he only could suspend as long as it's relevant to him. But once it's not relevant to him anymore, if he divorces her and she remarries or he dies, so then the neder does take effect, and his afara was not able to remove that.
But he would be able to remarry her.
He doesn't have to remarry; he stays married.
If he divorced her, he'd be able to remarry her.
And he was made for it, right? And he was made for it, and he's not married.
He's not included. He doesn't jump into the other Yehudim because he's still
No, he wasn't
shy if he wants to.
He was included, but he was made for it.
He was Mayfair, and so now his portion is not included.
Right.
And now that it's not included, if he divorced her,
He could marry back
he could marry her back because he didn't
Because
jump
he
into
was
being
made for
other
it.
Jews.
because he was made for it.
Because he was Mayfair in a word, yeah.
Unless he's a claim.
Right.
Well, yeah.
That's the Yonatan Benuri, right? That's according to, she says that Yochanan Benuri. That you should make for it. Because you can take her back.
Are you going back in that Mishnah?
You're referring to something else.
Right. You're quoting a Mishnah, the earlier
Yeah,
Mishnah.
but it's a different
that we
subject, different
discussed
subject. So just the point, so what was the Mishnah? Very little has to do with Nedarim. Only the last point, the end of the Mishnah has to do with Nedarim. But the cases were that a woman had 3 types of complaints that she wanted a divorce and ksuba. And just to organize it, it seems like the first one was that I'm usher to you, or that you are not capable, or that I am not capable. Just a neat way of organizing the Mishnah. The first case, Tmani Lach, means that I was the Sheishes Cohen, who was the fire, the onus. So she says, I'm also to have relations to stay with you. Second case is that she says, you're not capable of marital relations, and therefore she wants out. And the third case is that I'm not capable of having relations. So in all the, originally we believed her on all these 3 cases, and she got ksuba, she got a divorce, but then Chazal had suspicion that the whole thing was only to get out of the marriage, and she's making up a story, and therefore we don't believe her in all 3 cases. What's the result of what do we do? In the first case, we tell her you're not believed, then you have to bring a proof that you were defiled. If not, then carry on as usual. You're married and nothing happened. And the second case is that she says he's not capable, so we try to get them to either the Yasu Derech Pakasha means that we try to get them back together again, make happy terms, try to do something to help the marriage. And or Yasu Derech Pakasha would mean that we ask her, just please don't talk anymore because it's not going to help you anyway. And the third case is that we don't believe her that she's not capable of having relations, but she did make a neder, which asks her, so the husband has to be made for in order to permit himself. But even his permission, even his nullification is not going to nullify it permanently, because it's only dvarim shebeino leveina. It's not considered inu nefesh, as the Gemara proved in this Mishnah, that a woman that has to abstain from relations is not called inu nefesh. It's called dvarim shebeino leveina. It interferes with their relation, but it doesn't have to do with inu nefesh. It's not something that he could be made for absolutely. That was the Mishnah.
But when she said like the last one, that's still not inui nefesh,
It's not. That's what the Gemara proved. That not to have relations for a woman, not to have relations,
even though it's
It's
hurting
not-
her or whatever it is.
but it's not called inui. It's not called inui. That's not called inui. It's called.
Because it's not necessarily physical pain, or even if it's a physical
No, it's not. What's not physical pain? It means it's not called
relations.
not to have relations. She says, "I'm not going to have relations."
I thought because having relations with her husband was painful.
Now, that's why she's making the neder. But now the fact that she's going to be usher to have relations with anybody, forget about the fact. We don't believe that that's painful. That's not the point. She just
We
usher
don't
herself.
believe that it's painful.
If it would be painful, we would let her go free, and the neder would be kayam. But and he's not, that's not the issue. The issue is not being made for her. Maybe it could be made for her before, but that's not the issue of the Mishnah. The Mishnah was for us that let her go because she says it's so painful. But at the end, we don't believe her. Now the only issue is that it's neder, so he could take off his part, but he can't take about everybody else's part because abstinence from marital relations is not considered in the nefesh, at least for the woman. By the man, that we didn't have any right about it. Usually, it doesn't make a difference if it's Allah. It doesn't make a difference as far as in nefesh, but it's not considered inu nefesh for a woman not to have relations. Okay, so if that's good, we continue. So this woman, the first woman over here, that she said that she was nana, she's going to nensa. So we tell her continue the marriage. We don't believe, and everything's fine. Continue the marriage. Now, could she eat truma? Can she eat truma? Means till now she's been eating truma, but now she said that she was nensa. Isha's going to nensa is not allowed to eat truma. So we don't believe her as far as the husband goes. We're not going to make the husband lose out on his wife, and we're cautious that she's just doing it in order to get out. But is that going to allow her to eat truma? We should have maybe say don't eat truma because you say that you are nensa, so you're not allowed to eat truma. So don't eat truma. She should eat truma. If you're going to say that she shouldn't eat truma, so it doesn't look good. On one hand, we're saying that she could continue living with the husband, and she was not nensa. On the other hand, we're going to say she should not eat truma because maybe she was nensa. That doesn't look good. That's going to make people talk that maybe she was. Do you see that
If she doesn't eat the truma, it'll look bad on the children.
Right, because it looks like we're believing her that she was nansa, and the children that are going to be born are going to be they're not going to be mamzerim, but they're going to be halalim. That the husband Kohen is staying married to a woman who was nansa, and the children that are born subsequently, not the children that were already born, but the children that are born subsequently are children of a union of a Kohen and Zona.
It doesn't mean that. I thought it meant the children that were already born. It couldn't mean that.
No, because that doesn't affect them. Does it affect them in any way?
There's no laws on them.
They don't become possible because the mother was Mazana afterwards. But if from the time
Future
that
children.
from the time that we say that if she says she was Nansa, we do consider it, and we say don't eat truma, so then people will say, oh, you see that we do consider that possibility, and it's possible that she was Nansa, and now she's a zona, officially a zona. Not it doesn't mean she did it by Ratzon, she did it by onus, but it's still a Kohen's not allowed to have relations with her, and that's going to make the children halalim, the ones that are born. That's the laws, not Mamzeh, but the laws of halalim. So therefore, Rav Shesha says we tell her eat truma also. All this could be footnoted that she says, how can I eat truma? So we'll put that in the footnote, and the Rishon talk about how is it possible that she should ignore what she knows is to be true. But as far as we're concerned, we tell her it's not true, and you can have a stay with your husband, the Kohen, and continue eating truma.
And the children will be kosher children.
Yeah, the children are kosher for sure. The question was, people are going to say, does it make it look bad if she does not eat truma? Rav Amar Eino Chelas, she should not eat truma. Efsheh da'achla chulin. So the words mean she could eat chulin. So the Mefarshim explains, the Rosh explains that it means that doesn't look bad. If people see that she, it isn't so conspicuous that she's not eating truma. She's eating, she has chulin, she eats chulin. It's not that it's so obvious that she's machmer not to eat truma, and we say, oh, why not eating truma? Must be because you and Nansa. You don't see anything. It's not golei. It's not right. She could eat chulin and nobody sees anything. So machlokes, if you're choshish for the laws, that people will say she's not eating truma because she was Nansa. So she's definitely not to stay with the husband, as the Mishnah says. Question is if we should be allow her also to eat truma. Rav Shesha says yes, allow her to eat truma in order that shouldn't be no one should talk.
Rav says no.
And Rabba says no.
Rav says no. But he has a question. Now she has children, and in one level she's not eating truma, and another level she's having children.
If you don't,
Always say the children are
kosher.
kosher. The husband is allowed to have relations with her. The children are kosher. Nobody's going to talk because they don't see that she's not eating truma. It is on one hand would be machmir that she shouldn't eat.
Right,
We tell her,
that's the double. Two
so we don't. So people don't see it. So we understand that we're going to be machmir to her. We tell her you should be machmir since you said so. So you should be machmir. But we don't have to. We're not going to trust you as far as the husband goes because it affects him. What doesn't affect him, it's your business. But here you see in the Gemara that we're not telling her to get divorced. Before, as a footnote question, that how is she going to continue having relations? So I suggested that she can't have relations and she's going to get divorced without ksuba. But the Gemara doesn't say like that. The Gemara says she stays married. And the question remains, they have to look at the Rishonim, how is it possible for her to remain married when she says, I know that I was Nansen? Okay, we'll put it on the side.
Another thing in terms of not eating the truma, and it's in terms of the support for Rava, is that
Rava says she does not eat truma, right? Yes.
she does not eat truma. It's not a problem.
Because that's not conspicuous.
It's not conspicuous. We also, like, if somebody would see, let's say somebody came in and everybody's eating truma and she's not, and they saw it, you could say, I'm tummy today, I'm not tahor, so I'm not,
Very nice, very nice. Nice. Rava says, even my opponent Rav Sheshes, who says that she should eat truma in order not to make a laws, that's only as long as they're married. But if the husband eventually dies, she should stop eating truma. Even though Samuel is like Miss Almana, she became a almana. She was widowed. If she became a widow, so now really she should be able to continue eating truma, even if her husband died. But she has children who are kohanim, so then the mother of the kohanim also eats truma. So
according to Rav Sheshes.
I didn't finish the sentence, but a regular woman who is married to a Kohen, even after the Kohen dies, she's allowed to continue eating truma if she has children. So if there's ever Ayla, then she goes back. But here, so far, she'd be allowed to eat truma. And now the question is, but she was Nansa. She said she was Nansa when she was married. As long as she was married, we told her continue. Rav Shesha says, everyone says continue having relations with your husband, and Rav Shesha says also eat truma, because if you're going to stop eating truma, there's going to be a laws on the children. But Rav says Rav Shesha says moda that if her husband dies, she should stop eating truma. Medio time ela mishum shelo tosi las albanah. Salman of this gasha amri hashta this nisa. There's not going to be any laws if she stops eating truma after her husband dies or divorces her. It says both over here. If the husband divorces her or dies, then the woman is supposed to stop eating truma. Why? Because now there's no laws anymore. The whole laws was that if she was not eating truma, that means that she was Nansa at the time that she said she was Nansa. But if after she gets divorced or widowed, she stops eating truma, people will say maybe she was Nansa now. There's no reason for them to go back and say that was the Nansa that happened 5 years ago. If after she gets divorced or widowed, she stops eating truma, people will say, you know why she stopped eating truma? Because she was dancer now after the marriage was terminated because of the death of her husband or the divorce. So there's no loss on the children. If while she's married to the husband, she stops eating truma, they're going to say, why she's not eating truma? Because she was dancer. And they're going to strengthen the rumor that she really was Nansa, and the children are halalim. But if she stops eating truma after the divorce or after the death, there is no laws because people will attribute it to an onus that happened to her after the marriage was over.
Now, how's that fitting to the words midi kutama?
Isn't the reason only because the reason isn't the
Midi is
reason
a
not
thing,
only
or what is
media
midi?
time? How do you translate it literally? I don't know. I
How
don't
do you
get it.
translate it figuratively?
Figuratively is the reason not only isn't the reason only because Shema Totzi Lazal Banah.
Oh,
But true, Nisama with his Gasha, Amri Hasha this Nisa. After she gets widowed or divorced, people will say that now she was an onus. They're not going to say that she's usher because an onus happened 5 years ago, and the whole time he permitted her to eat truma, and now she's stopping to eat truma. That shows that she was honest the whole time. They're not going to be so lumdish. They're going to say the reason why she stopped eating truma now is because she was dancing now. So there's no laws. Period on that Gemara. New Gemara. Amar Papa. Vadi Klon Rava. Rava was the Rebbe of Rav Papa. So Rav Papa said that Rava tested us. Sometimes Rava would test the Talmidim and ask them questions. So Rava asked a question to the Talmidim. Rav Papa said, Rava checked us out. He checked us by asking us a question. The question is, Eishes Kohen Shenensa, Yesh Laksuba or Ein Laksuba? If a wife of a Kohen was raped, bonus, so the Kohen can't live with her anymore, he has to divorce her, is she eligible to Ksuba or not? The Eishes Kohen was Nansa, and she cannot she cannot remain with her husband, but is she eligible for Ksuba?
Sure, yes. Remember, it was your Nansa.
For sure, yes. Why?
She's an Nansa.
So it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault, he's saying.
Exactly. But also, yeah, and also, yeah. The only reason you can't come back to him is because the Kohen is not allowed to announce on the front. That's the only reason, but the relationship is like any other relationship. Which is that either
Is it his fault?
It is his fault, not his fault.
So why should he have to pay Ksuba?
When he dies, it's not his fault either.
That was the Ksuba. That was what the Ksuba was for.
So is it? They get divorced.
I don't know that.
Sorry?
They get divorced.
That's true. It's not his fault.
I'm not following.
The ksuba is if she get divorced, and here they have to get divorced, and it's not her fault. So she deserves ksuba.
And it's not his fault.
Well, my for that they have.
No, you can say that. You can say that a divorce is always when I'm the one to decide to divorce. So then I'm obligating myself Ksuba, but I'm not deciding. I'm not deciding.
She's not being told. He has the chiv divorce also. She's not.
So I'm just saying maybe.
Okay.
The question is, what do you do when it's somebody's fault? The Gemara, let's say the Gemara is too
this is a
stubborn.
quiz, right?
This is a quiz.
Yeah.
Rava
Rava's quiz.
to Rav Papa.
Yeah, and we're also invited to be quizzed. The Gemara brings us into the
It's
business.
only for extra credit.
So let's see the two southern. Everyone, I think everybody's taking the side that she is
That's what
eligible.
you should say.
She's eligible.
But you should
But in deeper thought, why should he fork out the money?
Okay, so let's do.
Don't think so deep. Don't think so deeply. How'd you get lit? How did you get lit?
Okay.
What about it?
I said once out, given the honest Lagabi Kohen Kiros and Lagabi Yisrael dummy, Ein Laksuba. Okay, I don't know. I don't understand the words of the Gemara says that whatever is a willing znus by Yisrael, the same thing as the honest znus by a Kohen. That both of them by Yisrael, if it was Baratz and she loses Ksuba, and by a Kohen, if it's honest, also I'm sorry, not loses Ksuba. She's not allowed to stay with. She's not allowed to stay with the husband. And but she could stay with the husband if it was an honest by Yisrael. But a Kohen, honest by a Kohen is the same thing as a Baratz by Yisrael. And Ein Ksuba. If by Yisrael Beratzon there's no Ksuba, so Eishes Kohen by honest also there's no Ksuba. I'm not sure if I understand this Svara. Or Dilma,
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that again?
that it's to be the same level as Eishes Yisrael Shazinsa Beratzon. Eishes Yisrael Shazinsa Beratzon, she loses
You
Ksuba.
lose it.
Of course, every course because it was Beratzon, right?
Yeah.
But here the Gemara is saying, but Eishes Kohen by honest is the same level as Eishes Yisrael Beratzon. It's true. That's true as far as being usher, but the Gemara is saying that's as far also why she should lose Ksuba. So Moshe doesn't understand that. Oh, Dilma, Matziyamale, Anoah Chazina. She might say that I am fitting. Means I'm fitting. What am I fitting? I'm fitting for what? I'm fitting if she wouldn't be a Kohen. it's because you're a Kohen. The Gavra, it's just to say, it's because of you. You're the Kohen.
It's your fault.
The Gavra who did a stuff Sadeh. I'm not sure what the words of the Gemara. It means that it's the man who his field got flooded. It means I'm your Mustafa flooded. So there you go. So that's the much when you say that somebody had a loss. He had a loss. He had a loss. That doesn't have to do anything with me. I didn't make the loss. Mustafa Sadeh means that I'm your field. I belong to you. And Hashem took me away from you. But that's nothing to do with me. Now, your field was flooded. So you have to lose. So that's another way of saying, like, it's not my fault, so then you lose. I just presented the other side that he says it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But she's considered his field. The woman is considered like his. And if something happened to not about that. If something happened, that's his loss. Okay, so as far as the question, the Gemara presents two possibilities. You need a proof. So we want to prove.
And the Sadehu, and then that implies that he would pay the ketubah.
Yeah. So this was what Papa said that Rava asked us. This was the quiz to the yeshiva. So Rav Papa said we told him back. We, the Bnei Yeshiva, we answered him. It's a Mishnah. I bring a right from our Mishnah that she gets ksuba. Everybody's right. She gets ksuba. And it's our Mishnah. What is in our Mishnah?
Oh, Tameani Lachal.
Tameani Lach Yesh Lach Ksuba. Before the chash about that she's lying, the original Mishnah was that she gets ksuba. What's the case? The case is that she's Eishes Kohen, Shenensa, and she gets ksuba. The only thing we don't give it to her is and we tell her not to get divorced is because we don't believe her. She's lying, she just wants to get out. But if it would be true what she said, she would get ksuba. But the Gemara goes to the trouble to prove that the Mishnah is talking about Eishes Kohen Shenensa. Who says? Maybe the case is Eishes Yisrael. Right. So we spoke it out to Gemara. Here's the Gemara. So what's the case of the Mishnah? What's the case of the Mishnah that she says I was Nansa, I was tummy, I was defiled. What's the case? Who's talking? Was it honest? Was it a Ratzon? The Gemara gives all the possibilities. If it was the husband is in Israel, and she's saying I was defiled. So how was that? What happened exactly? If she was willingly defiled. She was Mazana B'Ratzon, so then she has no time to get a ksuba. She loses the ksuba, so that's not, she surely doesn't get ksuba. And Eva honest become Israel Gabra, and if she was defiled against her will, she was raped. So then she's not us with her husband. Everything that we tell her, okay, it happened, but continue being married, no problem. So it can't be talking about Eishes Israel. It must be talking about Eishes Kohen. Vela Eishes Kohen. What's the case? If it was B'Ratzon, also she loses ksuba. That's no question. Even Eishes Israel loses ksuba if she was Mazana B'Ratzon. Even B'Ratzon Kum Yesh Ksuba. We go Eishes Israel B'Ratzon. Eishes Kohen B'Ratzon is no different than Eishes Israel B'Ratzon. She loses ksuba, so she wouldn't get ksuba. Alalava ones. So we eliminated all the other possibilities. There are four possibilities. Eishes Israel, Onus Ratzon, Eishes Kohen, Onus Ratzon. We came out only one case. Only Eishes Kohen, but honest. That's the case. That she says on one hand I'm Eishes Kohen, so I can't reign with the husband. I have to get divorced. On the other hand. I get ksuba because it was bonus. Oh, so what do you see? She gets ksuba. The katani yesh la ksuba. So that's
why
the answer.
It was a quiz, because he knew that there was a Mishnah that they could rely on.
Could be. You're saying the fact that it was a quiz sounds like
Nedarim? Did you get to the end of the Masechta?
And it's interesting. This is the only Mishnah in the whole Shas that we have a proof that she gets ksuba. Maybe that's a bigger quiz. Is there any place else in Shas?
It was Rava, the Rebbe of all.
Rava was the Rebbe of Rav Papa.
And the whole Beit Midrash, she was like the Zakin.
I mean, this is talking about. I mean, sure, he was the Gadol Hador. Papa was the next Gadol Hador, but when he was a Talmud, he was a Talmud of Rava. New question. This takes us to the end of the Masechta, more or less. Question. Iboilu. Amra Labala. The woman tells her husband, "You divorced me."
I'm sorry, Iboil, who is like a.
They asked the question.
They asked the question.
They asked the question. If a woman says to her husband, "You divorced me," we have in the Mishnah that I was defiled. We also had another couple of cases. We have the case about you can't have marital relations, or I can't have marital relations.
She's saying divorce me, right?
No, you divorced me.
You divorced me.
You divorced me. You don't remember? And he says, "No, I didn't divorce him." And she says, "I did divorce him." Is she believed? She wants to get married. She says, "I got divorced." Do we allow?
Why should she be believed?
Why should she be believed?
I'm fair full. Why should she?
Why should she be believed?
Would he have to he would say, well, where's your
Should be
kid?
believed.
I lost it.
I also think so.
Is she believed?
Yeah, why should, I gave it back to you when you gave me the ksuba.
She's not asking for a ksuba.
No.
Yeah,
I
she's
meant
saying.
to get, I gave it back to you when you had the ksuba.
So is a woman believed to say to her husband divorced me?
Being the get,
What?
being the get.
She doesn't have to get, and she's not, like you say, she's not asking for ksuba. She just wants to get married.
But the mahu is, do we consider her divorced, right?
Yeah, do we believe it that she's divorced?
Yeah.
Or do we stop, bring the police and say you can't get married? Until you bring proof that you were divorced. The husband says you're not divorced.
Yeah.
I'm Rabbi Amnuna Tashma from our Mishnah. Now, I didn't understand that there's any proof from our Mishnah. The Gemara is going to talk now. I don't see it as a proof from the Mishnah, but he's going to at least avoid that there's no kasha from our Mishnah. Our Mishnah talks about if she says I was Mizana, is she believed or not? Right? Mishnah Rishonah, we believed her. Mishnah Achrona, we suspected that she's lying, and we did not believe her. And the Gemara, what?
To me, ani laches would be that it was honest.
Yeah, that's what he said, right? But
Oh, that's.
yeah, but she's saying that she needs a divorce. She was defending a divorce. So the Gemara is going to prove from the fact that we believe her when she says that I was defiled to our question if she says I was divorced. So let's just highlight Rav. There's going to be here Rav Amnuna and Rava just to get names over here. Rav Amnuna is going to have an opinion that she is believed.
She's believed.
Tashma, it says in the Mishnah that I was defiled, and the Mishnah Rishonah said that she is believed, and Rav Amnuna is going to take the side that she is believed. Even the Mishnah Achrona that doesn't believe her, and the Mishnah Achrona we didn't believe, we suspected that she just wants out. But it's different. Even the even the second later Mishnah Achrona that says you don't believe her, it's not hard for her to say that I was defiled because the husband doesn't know. The Taka doesn't know. She says I was defiled. You weren't home. You went where I was defiled. So she doesn't have such difficulty to say to the husband I was defiled because she doesn't know. It can't be. It's too much of a chutzpah that a woman should say that you divorced me when he knows that he didn't divorce her. So here you have the woman telling to her husband's face, you divorced me. A woman wouldn't be able to look in her husband's face and say you divorced me if she knows that he knows that he didn't.
Once upon a time, now it's
The person can talk about if people change the
But he's saying, I know I didn't divorce you.
Yeah. He says I didn't divorce her. She said he did divorce me.
So he had the chutzpah that to say in her face.
No, she
has. She
The Gemara said, asking a question.
So what about him?
Does he have?
generation
Why do you say the same
No,
thing about him?
again,
So
one
he
second.
was not the one to say to her face that I didn't, that we never got divorced.
How does he have the chutzpah to say to her?
That
We
that
didn't
never
get
got divorced when we really got.
See the generation shift.
Maybe it's different. Maybe it's different to say that you divorced me or that I didn't divorce you. If he said I didn't divorce you,
Why you have to say
what is he saying? That we're married. We're married.
Right.
So it's not such a punch. I love you, my dear. I would never divorce you.
I would never. Okay.
She's saying you divorced me, and he knows that he didn't divorce her. That's a real chutzpah. She's really married to him, and she comes one day and she says you divorced me yesterday. That's a chutzpah. How does that sound?
Okay.
It's good. The folks can talk about what Ravam was saying, that this has to do with midos. The people have such audacity. Maybe times changed and people do have such audacity. The folks can talk about it. But the Gemara is talking about the chazaka that in the regular way of sizing people up, women would not be able to look in the husband in the face and say you divorced me when she knows that he knows that it's not true.
Doesn't even say from the face. One, her husband's there.
I'll say in the face, but okay.
Means she wouldn't be even in the same room. He wouldn't even.
Okay, but I can't be that more than it says. But what's the difference in our mission? In our mission, when she says she was defiled, and that's also a pretty big chutzpah that she's saying that she was defiled in order to get divorced, and she knows it's not true, but she knows that he doesn't know. It's not such a chutzpah because the husband doesn't know. He says he doesn't know. She knows he doesn't know. He knows he doesn't. No, of course. So then it's easier for her to lie. She can't lie to his face and say divorce me when she knows that he knows that it's not true. That's Rav Amnuna's father. So I just going back and saying I don't see it. Tashma, he's not being a right from the Mishnah. There's no right from the Mishnah. He's just saying there's no concept from the Mishnah. The Mishnah originally trusted her, And even Maskana, we don't trust her is only because she might be lying. But here, there's no svara to say that she's lying because she couldn't lie. That was Rav Hamnuna. And now, to highlight this,
No?
what?
It's called a ego, no?
It's called a,
Ego.
no, it's called, no, it's called, no. Amigo means you could have gotten the same result with doing something else. That's not the case. She couldn't have gotten the result with something else. And this will be now Rava.
Mhm.
And he says, no, she is not believed.
He was saying.
Rav Hamnuna says she is believed
wouldn't
because,
have the chutzpah.
right, I highlighted it. Rav Hamnuna says she's believed because Chazaka, she cannot have such audacity.
Chazaka ain't Isha Mazir.
Me'izer, it's a lesson of Azus, Ayin Zayin, Azus is bold. She
Yeah,
couldn't have been so bold in front of her husband to say, you divorced me, when she knows that he knows it's not true. And Rava takes the opposite stand and says that she is not believed. And Adrab, on the contrary. Now, in the Mishnah Achrona, we don't believe her that she says she was defiled. So we don't believe her that it does know that it's Chazaka, we'll see in a second. And he should not believe that she was divorced. And Afilu the Mishnah Rishona, even according to the original Mishnah, said you did trust her when she said that she was defiled, but we're not going to necessarily trust her when she said she was divorced. Afilu Mishnah Rishona, the Kali Mehemna, even in the original Mishnah that said that she was believed to say that she was defiled, that's only because it's a bizayon for her, not because nothing to do with the chutzpah to the husband. It has to do with her bizayon. How much does she care about her disgrace? To say that she was defiled is a disgrace for her. So if a woman says she was defiled, it's good grounds to believe her because she's saying that she's making a disgrace of herself, even though it was honest, it wasn't a ratzon. But to say that she was raped, the woman wouldn't do that, only if it's true. But avalacha, here it's not such a disgrace to say that her husband divorced her. Avalacha, the zimnin, the takif lam and gavra, and iza. Also, the Rav is also considering the woman, it's a chutzpah to say to her husband, but sometimes the husband is so takif lam and gavra. What do the words mean? The husband, there might have been a big fight that the husband came down strong or something like that. There was a reason why she has the chutzpah to tell her husband that he divorced her, even if she knows that he knows that it's not true. Takif lamin gavra, I'm not sure if the translation, takif means strong, something, and gavra is her husband, right? So I didn't get the exact translation. How does ArtScroll translate?
Yeah, she got angry at him.
Takif lamin gavra.
Min Gavra, she got angry from her husband, and therefore she was made.
Okay, that's definitely the idea. That's the idea that they got into a big fight, and it could be she has the chutzpah to do that also. But to say that she was raped is bizayon. That's the reason that she's believed. So Rava is taking the tzad to say that she's not believed.
she's not believed because she
might have the chutzpah to say
She
it.
might have the chutzpah to do it.
And even though you see in the Mishnah she doesn't have the chutzpah, she's believed to say that she was mizana. She does not have the chutzpah to lie. But here she does have the chutzpah. Only over there because of the bizayon. So we have two tzadim now. Rav Hamnuna says that she is believed because she wouldn't be such a chutzpah, and Rava says she could have such a chutzpah. Only her consideration is only la vida levzuya nafsha. Okay, so far we have machlokes. The Gemara continues to bring proofs from the other cases of the Mishnah. I mean, so far we just considered the first Mishnah we had talked about that she said I was defiled. There are other cases in the Mishnah about Hashemayim b'ni lebencha, that you're not capable of having marital relations. And originally that we believed her, and then afterwards we said maybe she's lying. So we're going to try to use that also as a basis to show if she's believed or not. Hashemayim, one second, I'm sorry. Hashemayim b'ni lebencha, the Mishnah Rishona, Tifta the Rav. So it wasn't going to take the case of Hashemayim b'ni lebencha when she says you're not capable of having marital relations. And originally we did believe her, and the Maskana we didn't believe her. And the Gemara is going to take each case against whoever says differently. In the case that Mishnah Rishona was that she was believed, how's Rabbi going to explain how come originally we believed her when she said that you're not capable of relations? Why does Rabbi say that she only doesn't say we're only impressed with her audacity, call it, I don't know if it's called audacity, when she says something which is bizayon to her, like the fact that she was raped. But here, when she's saying Hashem that you can't have relations, is that does she have chutzpah to say such a thing? Would she have the chutzpah to say to her husband that you're not having relations? And he knows that it's not true. So Rabba was the one who said that we're not impressed with the fact that she has chutzpah. But here you see that you do trust her. And in the Mishnah Rishonah, we did trust her because if she said so probably she wouldn't say such a thing if the husband knows that it's not true. Why do you see? This is the chifta. The kasha is going to be against Rabba. The less lucky super. There is no shame. She didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't defiled. And you see she's believed. Don't you see that she wouldn't lie to her husband in the face of her husband when he knows that it's not true? Kisufa is shame. The same thing as kisufa is shame. She shames from her husband. Kisufa is the opposite of ajos. The less lucky, no, maybe the word is like bizayon. Yes, it's the same word as bizayon before. Before the Gemara used the word bizayon, he has using the word kisufa. Kisufa is shame. So the answer is kasava rava hasam chiven de lo sagila de lo amra ein yora kechetz ilo isa kedika amra lo amra la yashamayim v'nila v'incha. It's a big chutzpah to tell the husband that he's not ejaculating properly, in a healthy, if he knows that it's not true. He knows that he is yora kechetz, and she's so different kinds of chutzpah. Over there, the chutzpah to say divorce me is one kind of chutzpah, and there Rava says she might have a chutzpah to say that to her husband, but to say that he's not able to ejaculate, and he knows that he can, she would not have the chutzpah. So it depends each case how much chutzpah it takes. This takes more chutzpah. So here we could trust her. The Mishnah Achrona the Kasha and Rava was that you see that she is believed. Originally, she was believed to say that my husband cannot have relations, and that means you trust her because you say that she wouldn't say such a thing if it wouldn't be true. Because her husband, how could he say such a thing? So Rava says that's different because that's not a big chutzpah to do such a thing. But to tell her husband that he divorced her, it could be because of a fight. That she's angry and she's going to say such a thing that you divorced me. But to say that he cannot ejaculate and he knows that he could, she wouldn't be able to do such a thing if it wouldn't be true.
The Mishnah
That was the Mishnah Rishon.
and that one.
The Mishnah Achrona is Teftir, not more turns the other way. The Mishnah Achrona Teftir to the Rabba Menuna. We could take the Maskana. The Maskana was that we choshes that she's lying, and we don't trust her. So it's not an Akasha against Rabba Menuna who says that we do trust her that she's not going to do a chutzpah to her husband. Our question of the get is talking about Mishnah Achrona. That after Maskana that we do suspect that she's lying. So Rav Nuna is going to say that in the Mishnah we trust that we choshes she's lying. If she says you cannot ejaculate, we're going to choshes that she's lying. But if she says you divorced me, she's not going to lie. How do you reconcile that? Here she knows that her husband knows that it's not true. She says he doesn't ejaculate, and he says he doesn't. He knows he ejaculates. So how could she? The whole thing Rav Nuna said was by defiling. The husband doesn't know. She can lie because over there, the husband doesn't know if she was defiled or not. So she has the chutzpah to say she's to lie. But when the husband knows he didn't divorce her, she can't say a chutzpah to that something he knows. So here's the same thing. If that's true, so then even in Mishnah Achrona, we should have trusted her because how could she lie to her husband's face that you can't ejaculate if he knows that he could? The answer is first white line. Kasav Rav Nuna Achanami he gufa amra he did it via yada yora kates miyada mishmachi mishakra. It isn't that she's saying he doesn't ejaculate. He doesn't ejaculate yora kates. Yora kates means like someone shoots an arrow. It means that the ejaculation has to come out with power. If it doesn't come out, even if he ejaculates, it's not able to impregnate her only if it's yora kates, only if it shoots out. So she thinks, or maybe it's even true, that the husband cannot tell how he's ejaculating. He knows if he ejaculates or not, but he doesn't know if it's powerful enough. And she says that she does know. That's interesting that she knows more than he. She could say that she knows that it's not coming out kechetz, and he says, and he doesn't know. So there, it's similar, it's similar to the one of the fileman. What did Rabbi Nuna said that she cannot lie something that he knows is not true, but she could lie something which he doesn't know about. So the fileman he doesn't know about. Get he does know about. And here the Gemara thought that by the ejaculation that he does not know about it, so she should be able to lie with that. And no, she thinks the other
He
one.
would-
The more thought that he does know,
That he
so she
would-
shouldn't be able, she wouldn't be able to lie. Must be she's saying the truth. The answer is that he does not know, because even though he knows he's ejaculating, he doesn't know how he's ejaculating. So she's not scared to say that he's not ejaculating well, even though he really is, because he himself doesn't know. Here the Rush says that the Rush is mashma over here that he really does know, but she thinks he doesn't know. But I saw Oscar brings down, there's another Gemara in Ksubas that says that he does not know, that the man is not able to know how he's ejaculating. Even if he feels an ejaculation, doesn't mean he knows how powerful it is. So I'm not that, that's a kash on the Rush, why the Rush makes it sound that only what she thinks, but really she's wrong. It could be that she's right, that the husband does not know if he's ejaculating powerfully or not. So we ended up with a machlokes and no kash on anybody. So this question was, is a woman believed to say to her husband that you divorced me? And he said, I didn't. So Rav Nuna says she's to believe because she wouldn't be able to have the chutzpah to lie to his face in what he knows is not true. And Rabbi says it could be that she does have chutzpah, she will only believe it when she does something which is a bazayin to her, like being defiled. But we don't trust her. And even that, the Mishnah Chona says that we don't trust her either. Even in the Mishnah Chona, we trust that we think she's lying also, even by that.
But then we don't.
Right, but Rabbi Nuna still says at the end that she wouldn't be able to have the chutzpah to say something that he knows is not true. And the halacha is like Rabbi Nuna, it seems, but the person can talk about maybe times change. Maybe nowadays women do have chutzpah. Of course, it means the average woman, because they're always going to find some woman this way, some woman that way. But the question is about the average woman, if she has such chutzpah nowadays that they didn't have once upon a time. A couple of stories now to land of the Masechta. It goes about in relation to the stories in the Mishnah we're talking about, that she says that she was defiled, and originally we believed her, and then we were choshev that she wants out. So there might be some stories in relation to that. The whole yom of the Tashmish mikadma mashi yadei legavra. There's a woman that every time that she would have relations with her husband, she would bring water to her husband to wash his hands in the morning, whatever. Yom echad asyale maya lemesha. One day she brought water for her husband to wash his hands, as if they had relations the night before. Amallah hadam bil salah said, no, we didn't have relations last night. What's this all about? So she said, oh, you didn't have relations. It wasn't you. It must have been somebody else. Amalei came chad min ochmim ahaluye hadavuhacha ha'idna. It must have been one of those goyim who were the perfume merchants in the area. If it wasn't you, it must have been one of them. Yantlo, if it's not you, Domamin home, maybe it's from them. I mean, she was putting on a
Very strange, because what, they didn't talk before?
no. That's what,
low.
if it was you, not maybe it was from them. She meant to say that I had relations last night, and I thought that it was you. Now you tell me it's not you. Oh, it must have been somebody else, one of those guys. Which means that I can't live with you anymore. This must have been a Kohen.
What's a halabe? The first one?
Hallelujah. So they say that
Hallelujah.
ohel is alapei lamed is aloe. That's some kind of perfume.
Perfume.
But also, why is it kai? That's called Ines.
Yeah, even if it was not, she didn't mean to do it. She thought that it was her husband. That's what they say. That if she thinks that it's her husband, they speak this out. That is, if it wouldn't be a Kohen, she'd be with him.
You have it by the Torah, by the mitzvah.
By what?
What's the name? Bastivri?
Shlomis Basti.
And now the question, what's the question here now?
No question. Yeah, is the husband have to be choshesh that this really happened? The wife is saying that I was defiled.
Then it would be onus.
Yeah, it was honest. Yeah, she said I didn't know.
She assumed it was her husband. She's
Yeah.
pretending. If she's pretending,
If she's pretending,
Then it's onus.
if she's not pretending,
if she's not pretending, she
if
thought
it's
it was
really,
her husband. It's onus.
and really
She's
happened,
pretending. She's pretending it was onus.
and there was no such story. If she's pretending, the whole thing didn't happen. It was a quiet night.
It was a quiet night. She's pretending. it was
She's making up a
onus.
story, but
Yeah.
the story she made up was that she needs a get. Maybe she gets stupid, she doesn't get stupid. I mean, this is the Mishnah Rishona. I mean, the Mishnah Achron, we don't believe her. Even if she was said I was defiled, even if she would say that, also the Mishnah Achron, we don't believe her. We tell her go on as usual because we don't trust her. But this might have been either. So that's the question.
Uh-huh.
So the Mefarshim say, I think that they just want to point out, even if she comes with a story that she's as if she didn't know anything, maybe this looks better. The fact that actress.
Yeah,
On the side,
she's
she's
an
lying, she's an
actress.
actress. So I choshish that even if it looks like some kind of leaning towards her, the fact that she looks as if she was she just, I was just innocently bringing you the water. She means v'choshish for an act also. Just as to say to me, I was defiled. That's coming with a plan, maybe. But put on an act and the whole thing. So this more is saying that even for an act, also v'choshish put on an act. And they came to Rav Nachman. Don't worry, and she just wants to marry somebody else. But she's looking for a get. But let's don't take any substance to her words.
Nothing happened.
You see, what Rav Nachman
Nothing
said,
happened. She didn't do anything.
Nothing happened. You don't have to push anything. The whole story is not that you have to
Or
get
that-
there. Something's wrong over there that the wife wants to get out, but fix up the relationship. But nothing. You don't have to be choshesh. She was mazana.
you see, until Rav Nachman says is that she wants to marry somebody else. I don't know why the Gemara didn't say that before. That was one of the reasons why she's lying.
Right,
She
right.
fell in love with somebody.
Right, that's what the Mishnah says it already. The Mishnah says it.
Mishnah
So it seems the whole kiddush here is even if she was acting innocently and she bought water and then she puts on a whole
I'm
act.
saying that of course she would have the chutzpah to lie to the husband. If she loves somebody else, she'll do anything to marry another.
That's what the Gemara is saying.
Okay.
But the Gemara thought that maybe when we see that she's, see, I didn't put on a good act. She went when the husband said it wasn't me. She started screaming. She started like she put on she fainted that it was somebody else.
Oh my.
And then I read it very calm, but she put on a whole act. So you might think that there is some substance to her act. You say no, the whole thing's an act. She's a good actress.
So what does it mean that she put her eye? What are the
She
words
wants somebody
mean?
else. That's the same as the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that.
Uh-huh.
Nothing there, but she put her eye on somebody else. She's interested in another man. She wants to get out of this marriage in order to marry somebody else.
Yeah.
And therefore she's lying. And let's her words are no substance. Ignore her words. New story. The rest of the Masechta ends off with stories. It's a lav of b'dicha daita badi gavra. That's a nice way of saying that things weren't going well. B'dicha means happy. She wasn't happy with her husband. There's a way of problems. Amala idna maishna. The husband said, like, what's happening? So it means that b'dicha daita. I said it wrong. She wasn't happy. She came and she was upset. She came and like she didn't look calm. And the husband said, "What's the problem? What's happened?" It never pained me our relations as now. Like last night I had relations and it was very painful. So she showed her she was discomfort from last night's relations. So he said there were no relations last night. There was no relations this day. So she said, "Oh, must have been the guy there." Same story. It must have been Amalei and Cain. What means now?
Is that the end of the sentence or the beginning?
Now.
The end of the sentence. She said, "May olam lo shatem derech means relations." There were no relations now. Amalei and Cain alei nachem naftuye davuhacha ha'idna. It must have been the goyim, naftuya. Naftuya sounds like neft. They were the kerosene sellers, those who sell kerosene. That I think whatever that were here. If it wasn't you, it must have been them. If it wasn't you that had relations with, it must have been one of them. So the same story, different scenario, but the same thing. That she was saying a story as if she had relations with somebody else besides the husband, and it was one of the goyim over there. So she's puzzled. I mean, she's puzzled anybody, a Jew, anybody should be. He was a Kohen. And she wants a divorce. And even if she won't get ksuba, maybe. Who Rav Nachman, same thing. Rav Nachman said the whole thing's a story. Don't pay attention. She looked at she had her eye on somebody, another man. She wants to get a divorce. Ignore the whole thing. New story.
Same thing.
Same thing. Same Rav Nachman.
Yeah.
And even if it's a story, an innocent story, she looks like she don't trust it. Who gavra deba maharzik b'beisa. Who the intisa? There was a man who was secluding with a woman, with a ish. There was a man, a stranger, that was in the woman's house. They were secluding. Also married the besa, and the balabais, the husband came in, and he was there. Parte noef lehutza v'orak. So the noef, the one who's suspected mazana, he broke through the hutza. Hutza means palm branches. There was some kind of a gate over there that was able to reach through, and he ran away. He had an option of hiding. He could have hid it behind the curtains, but he didn't. He ran away. So, Arak is to run away. Today, somebody who
Rick, yeah.
Arik, somebody who escapes the army is called the Arik. It's Aramaic, really. Arak means to run away, to barach. It's Aramaic word. They incorporated it into the Hebrew language. Amar Rava, it's Sharia. So what's the Sharia? I was saying maybe there was Anna. He found a man secluded with his wife. Now, halachically, the yichud, this is the post can talk out, the Mefarshim, that yichud, even if he was miyachad, it's not enough reason to divorce a wife. It's only the sota. Sota means that he warned her, he saw secluding, and then he warned her, and then she still went to seclude. Otherwise, just the fact that you're not have yichud, but the woman doesn't become masir because she was yichud. But here, the husband, he also saw maybe looked more suspicious. I don't know, or the husband wanted to be machmir. Rava, it's a sharia. Rava said on the contrary, she's muchach that he was not mazana. He said the if he would have been mazana, the inclination would have been that he would have hidden. He wouldn't have run away. The husband saw him, and he knew the husband was going to see him. So the human nature would be that if he was mazana, he would be more scared in a way that he would hide. If he was not mazana, maybe he was planning to, or he wanted to have yichud with her, not for good reasons, but if he actually was mazana, so he would have hidden. He wouldn't have shown himself to the husband. So you don't have to be choshesh, even for Hasidus. You don't have to be choshesh that they were mazana.
I started. She drinks the water. If she didn't sleep with him, and she just was miyachad with him, then nothing happens to her.
Right. We know that they're miyachad. The only reason why she's because they're miyachad. But the sote, but now they're aser because b'choshesh they're mazana. And the Mamar is going to prove her innocence that they were Amazon,
Right.
even though she's not a good lady. She was a young. But what? How many times?
3 times she was, or once or twice.
Once.
With the husband.
And the husband had reason to suspect and said don't, and she did anyway. So then she becomes a sota and she's asked to have baby with her husband until she proves her innocence.
Right.
And Hashem said, "I'll prove your innocence if you're innocent." And innocent means that she was Amazon, even though she was Miyana. And now this is the last story. Who know if there was also a suspected noef mazana that came to a certain woman, Eshesish, also Gavra, Salik noef, and the husband came. So the noef hid inside the house. He didn't have a way to get out. So I don't know. They say it's baloi, baba means the gate. So they say the curtains are by the gate. I don't know exactly. So he was hiding. He was hiding in the room, and the husband came up. Baba is the gate. Anybody? Any better shot?
I see.
Of
Yeah,
the
but
keeper?
I have a voice in Tzilim, I have a Zahada who brings down, says Pirish, Al Gabe Kitas Hashar, the Macha, the blood, that's it.
That's it. Okay, so he was hiding in some place on the gate, on top of the entrance. And he was hiding. And the husband was inside the house. Have a machtan tachli taman. There were shachlaim. Tachli means chris, some kind of vegetable. And snakes, they like very much chris. The tamino chivya, and the snake had tasted from it. Means the mizana, he knew that a snake had tasted from it, and when the snake eats from it, so then it's a chash giloy, that the venom of the snake will be on it, and it's dangerous to eat. It's dangerous to eat food that the snake had eaten from. And the husband was going to take from these shachlaim without his wife's knowledge. His wife would have told him don't, or the wife didn't. The wife wasn't there. The wife didn't know that he was taking it. The wife was in the next room. She didn't know that the husband was going to eat the shachlaim, and it's fatal to eat.
But she didn't know about the nachash.
Either she didn't know about the nachash, or she did, and she wasn't going to serve it. She was going to give it. She was going to throw it out. But he was going to take it without her knowledge. And the boel, the
Tachli is why do you say shlachlaim?
Tachli is Aramaic, shachlaim is Hebrew.
Oh.
The shin and the tuf is interchanged. The shin of a Hebrew becomes a tuf of a Aramaic. So he wanted to eat. So the man was going to eat. He saw some shachlaim over there. He was going to eat it. Amalaya, who noef lo sechel manhom the tamin al chivya. So the noef called out from his hiding place and said, "Don't eat it. It's dangerous." And snake ate from it. And now the question is, if he was muzana.
If he was Masana, then he wouldn't tell him anything. He would
Right.
die.
That's the Gemara says.
Right?
Rabbi said the wife is mutter, and we say the
Right.
if he had mezana, he'd be happy that the husband should eat it and die. The Gemara makes it a chiddush that he's even willing that the husband should die. So it brings a pasuk that they're mazana and they have blood on their hands. That means that if they're willing to be mazana, they're also willing to kill him. So they'd be, even though he's not actually killing him, but he wouldn't save him. So since he called out to save his life, that means that it was not mazana. The Gemara says pshita. It's not a chiddush. It's pashut that he wouldn't save him if he was mazana. He wants her. He'd be happy that the husband should die. He could take her. But maybe the Gemara says no. Maybe he really was mazana. So why does he want him to stay alive? The reason why he told him in order to save his life, then he's rather the husband should not die. He might rather that she should create a sish, that he can continue having romance with a married woman. That's going to be the stolen waters. He wants to have this stolen. If he's going to die, she'll be a regular woman again, and then he can marry her, and that's not going to be enjoyable for him. You might think. Kamash Malan, that people don't do that. That was the Kamash Malan. So some say he doesn't realize. Okay, but Kamash Malan that the Noah would rather that the husband dies, that he could have her quietly without having.
So the Avamim is that.
I mean, it was that he'd rather that he'd rather have stolen waters than permissible water.
There's a story of Rabbi Emmanuel Feldman from Atlanta, the Rav. One of his Balabatim, one of his people in the shul, was telling the story that he divorced his wife, and he wasn't a frum guy, whatever. And he says that he travels, and he says that every month when I pass my ex-wife's house, I go with him. We still have relations or whatever. So Feldman looked into it. He realized that this guy never had a divorce. So he tells the guy,
The first husband.
no, this guy in his congregation told the rabbi
That he had-
I'm divorced,
Uh-huh.
but once a month.
So he told him that he said,
So
you know,
Rabbi Feldman looked into it and he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but you've really never had a get. So you're really still married to him. He says, Rabbi, you ruined it for me now. He says, that I'm still married and I'm having relationships with her. That's not the fun. He thought
fun is that
that he was finished with her already, and then he was still having relations. He thought he was doing something wrong. But if I'm still married to my wife, I'm having relationships, he says, you just ruined everything.
So,
That's right.
Okay, well, we said Kamash Malan, right?
Kamash Malan.
Kamash Malan, most people would just rather have,
How did Allah Masechus Nedarim and big supposed to have finished the Masechta
Amen.
and 90 daf.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many daf is
And Nazir, I didn't look into it yet. Yes, and Mazel Tov, and we'll be continuing tomorrow. Nazir,
Are you coming? Devin, are you coming? Getting on
When is the seal?
today, Yaakov.
Today, today, at what time?
1 o'clock is
1 o'clock is
Mincha.
Mincha.
Davening Mincha. Very nice, Bez Hashem.
Okay.
And Ruben, we'd love to have you.